From NKC Pro Bowl in North Kansas City, Missouri, it's the Harrah's Open, the 19th of 22 Open Division qualifiers of the Brunswick World Team Challenge.
We are in store for some exciting team bowling competition using the Baker scoring system here from NKC Pro Bowl. And hello again, everybody. Great to have you with us. I'm Mike Jakubowski, along with ABC and PBA Hall of Famer Earl Anthony. And Earl, the excitement builds as we're moving closer to our Grand Championships coming up soon.
That's right, and we only have 3 qualifiers left, Mike. One coming up in Miami, of course, one in Baltimore, and then again in Pittsburgh. And a lot of very, very good teams around the country haven't qualified yet, so it's getting a little frantic, you might say, as they try to prepare to get into the Grand Championships in Reno.
3 teams are preparing today for a berth in those Grand Championships. Our number 1 qualifier is loose and ready to win. Earl, that's McGerr's Pro Shop.
McGerr's Pro Shop really made a move this afternoon in match play. With 5 matches to go, they were some 300 pins out of the lead. They made all that up in those last 5 matches, especially in the position round where they took over the lead from 3rd place. So all 3 teams very close. Should be some very exciting matches.
We are looking forward to it, but first our semifinal match will feature Vise Grips as they prepare to take on Thunderstorm. Stay tuned. The Harrah's Open is coming up next.
It's a tank.
A dancer.
It's off the charts.
It's on target.
Concrete.
A theory. Ruthless, only meaner.
It's there in the 10th frame. Perfect symmetry. It's a partner.
A hero. A scapegoat.
It's war.
And peace. It's a Brunswick ball.
For any lane. It's a habit.
When it comes to making quality bowling shoes, no company does it better than Linz. And now Linz has designed an entirely new approach with the Classic Extra. The Linz Classic Extra offers the ability to change the sliding characteristics of both the sole and the heel, providing virtually unlimited options. If you find the approaches are a bit slick or tacky, the Classic Extra enables you to compensate by simply replacing the color-coded slide inserts. Don't settle for anything less than the best. Classic Extra from Linz. Right, why is bowling my favorite sport? No matter how bad a shot you throw, you never lose your ball, and it always comes back to you. There are never any rainouts, and striking out's a good thing. Bowling allows me to keep up with old friends, and also it gives me the opportunity to make new ones. It's a lot easier to hit one pocket than it is 6. I don't have to set up my own pins or keep my own score anymore. Everyone's a winner when you take the family bowling. Join in the fun. Take the family bowling this week.
The Brunswick World Team Challenge is brought to you by the American Bowling Congress and the Women's International Bowling Congress, providing championship service to sanctioned leagues across the United States. Make sure your league is sanctioned by the national governing bodies. By Contour Power Grips, the pioneers of the finger grip industry. More pros choose Contour Power Grips. You should too. By Linz Shoes. For the performance approach, it's American-made Linz Shoes, the choice of top professionals and amateurs alike. And by Brunswick. Bowling is sold on Brunswick worldwide. Welcome to the Harrah's Open. Vise Grips and Thunderstorm in our semifinal match. Starting on the left lane, lane 41 here at NKC Pro Bowl, is Del Ballard. 6-game qualifying mark at 2:15. Opening shot. Light pocket mix.
And there's obviously some emotion here. This team was the tournament leaders all the way through until the very last round of match play. And they are wanting to get it going again, get some emotion back into this match, and maybe they can work their way back up into that championship match, but they've got their hands full with Vise Grips.
And here's Vise Grips' leadoff player. The 1-6 indicates that he will bowl in the 1st and 6th frames in this game. Big 4.
Yeah, not exactly the kind of start you want. But again, this is 2 games, total pins to determine the winner. Vise Grips, tremendous in match play, 9-1. So when you consider that, they are the team that you've got to look for when it comes head-to-head matches. Whereas Thunderstorm, their opponent, was tremendous in qualifying, averaging 214 plus per man, with only 3 teams in the whole field averaging over 200.
Contour Power Grips starting lineup brought to you by the pioneers in the finger grip industry. More pros use Contour Power Grips. You should too.
Ballard, Gotchall, Vito, Steve Patterson, and Richard Howell for Thunderstorm.
Good solid game here, good arm swing. Only the 4-pin, good shot, good opening shot for this young man. And experience is always a factor, Mike. We've talked about that before, and there's obviously a lot of experience with Joe Vito and Del Ballard on the same ball club. That can be a key factor. When we're talking about experience, we're talking about television appearances. How many times you've been here before, had that little red eye following you to the foul line, and I'm not talking about yours, I'm talking about the cameras, Mike.
That hurts. Good spare on the 4-pin. The Contour Power Grips starting lineup for the Vise Grips Club: Fowler, Hairgrove, Burkenbine, Willoughby, and Captain Larry Stepp. First look at Randy Hairgrove.
This team, you might consider them to be the local favorites, Mike. You had an interesting story about one of their players that I'm sure you're going to relate to us eventually, but that was really good. I got a kick out of what you talked about traveling to get here to Bowl League.
Yes, actually 4 of the 5 players on the Vise Grips Club bowl in a league here at NKC Pro Bowl. And our next player for Vise Grips will be Mark Burkenbine. He bowls 200 miles one way to Bowl League here.
He drives 200 miles one way. That's incredible.
That's dedication. Here's Joe Vito.
Here,
All but the 10.
Maybe that far out in Kansas, there's no bowling centers. I don't know, but I can't believe that. 200 miles each direction, say 35 times a year.
Once a week.
Wow. 14,000 miles. That'll get you a new car every year.
Here's our qualifying leader, Joe Vito. Lapped the field basically. 232, was 14 pins better than his closest competitor in this field of 55 teams, 275 players. And if anyone should pick up a 240 game, High Roller will bring you the TV High Score bonus, brought to you by the High Roller Tournament Series. And both teams are eligible to receive that bonus for each TV Baker game of 240 and over, and each 2-game Baker series of 450 and over. And here is Mark Burkenbine for Vise Grips. A lot of miles on the car. And man in motion.
Almost. Just a little late on the 10-pin, and both teams seem to be pretty comfortable out there and making good shots, good opening shots. So we talked about this could be some exciting matches, good scores, and I think that's going to happen, Mike. I think we're going to see some good scores today, and I think the high roller people might be sending out a few of those checks.
Spare for Burkenbine. Thunderstorm with the early advantage here in the first of 2 games in the Baker system. The winner will face McGerr's Pro Shop. Steve Patterson for Thunderstorm. At 6 games of qualifying, his average at 205. Coming up a bit high, leaving the baby.
Steve looked like he was trying to force that ball down the lane and just really didn't get it through the first part, the head area. The ball wanted to hook a little early, and you can see him talking things over with his teammates, especially Del Ballard. If you were looking for experience in pressure situations, he's been there many times, 2-time U.S. Open champion. Del Ballard sitting on the end of the bench and probably imbibing some of his knowledge to his teammates. The baby split, try to fit the ball and get them both, and he misses the 3-pin. So here's a look at Del Ballard. His wife also a pro bowler on the ladies tour, and a very successful one. But Del, no question in my mind, will be in the PBA Hall of Fame.
Our tournament leader with the high game of the week at 1188. Thunderstorm not far behind at 1175. Those scores are fairly high. Only 3 teams in qualifying average 200 or better. And of those games in qualifying, Jeff Clark led all qualifiers with his 269.
Well, there's a guy that Boomershine. Now there's a name that should be on the Thunderstorm team, don't you think? Boomershine. It's got to fit in the Thunderstorm team somewhere.
Joe Vito with a 705. Played the middle of the lane for that spare.
Good cover there. Steve Willoughby at good fundamentals in that game. We'll probably take a look at his a little later. And when we talk about, here's another look at the spare. And when we talk about fundamentals, watch the contrast here when you watch the anchor person for Thunderstorm, and that's Richard Howell. Watch this approach. Watch no thumb in the ball. But of course, the result is what it's all about, and that's
the pit.
the kind of result he gets more often than not.
For Howell in the anchor position.
There's another look at it. You can see him step out of the way of that big bucket of water they put in the middle of the approach, walk around it and throw the ball over it and still get a strike. Pretty good. That's talent.
Here's Larry Stepp, anchor for Vise Grips. Directing it left. And left it went, Earl.
Yes, it did. And this is not an easy spare. The double wood spare, the 3-9. And ideally, he'll hook the ball into the spare, throw the ball out to the right, cross lane, try to get the ball hooked back into the 3-9. He has to be careful because if he gets it too wide, the out of bounds will let it skid by. If he gets it hooking too early, it'll hook in front of it.
Stepp, one of only 2 players on this Vise Grips club with prior Team Challenge TV experience. That's a nice spare, right on it. We'll be back with more of our opening match from NKC Pro Bowl. It's the Harrah's Open here in the Brunswick World Team Challenge.
Hi, Bob Vila here.
There was a time I had trouble getting around. I had to depend on others to help me. Now it feels great to have independence with my Rascal from Electric Mobility.
If you or someone you know needs the independence of affordable personal transportation, call this toll-free number for a free Rascal scooter and power chair catalog. The Rascal is easy to use with just one-hand controls. Use it indoors as a power chair or outdoors as a scooter. And Rascals are portable with a unique take-apart frame. Take advantage of our money-saving offers, easy payment plans, free test ride, and see if you qualify for medical insurance reimbursement.
Call 1-800-522-5333 now for a free, no-obligation in-home Rascal demonstration. That's 1-800-522-5333. For a free demonstration and more information, call now. 1-800-522-5333.
When you can't do it all, do what you can. A message from the Credit Union Foundation and your hometown credit union.
Mike Jakubowski and Earl Anthony back at NKC Pro Bowl. 6th frame, first of 2 games in the Baker system. Del Ballard with a light mixing strike in his first frame. And it's a 6th now. Crossing over, picking up 8.
Well, Del trying to make some kind of a small adjustment there, and you can see Del very uncomfortable with his game right now. He's really been struggling all afternoon. Here's another look at that shot. You can see the ball gets a lot of back end and just not enough ball speed to hold the ball in line at that angle. Del, I talked to him earlier, he said that he was really struggling with his game and a couple of the other players, and that's why they lost that huge lead they had and finished 3rd qualifying.
And as we had mentioned earlier, Joe Vito on top of that, 6 qualifying games, 232 average, 14 pins better than the next 3 competitors.
That's incredible. That's great bowling, regardless of the lane condition. That's 232. And Joe Vito in several Hall of Fames in the Texas area, San Antonio and the State Hall of Fame and things like that. You can expect him to be in the American Bowling Congress Hall of Fame someday, I would think. I like the way this guy plays the lanes right here. Now, it's what I'm saying is that he spins the ball, and by doing so, he can keep the ball on line longer, doesn't have to open up the lane. In other words, throw it to the right quite as much as some of the other players. All he has to do, especially with the lanes hooking, see how he spins it, goes around it, see how the ball spins kind of like a top, picks up the roll right there about 10 feet from the head pin. And that's a good entry angle. He's going to carry a lot of strikes. He keeps throwing like that.
And Fowler on the 10 pin. He's got 2 regional PBA Midwest titles. As we move to the 7th frame for Thunderstorm, Rob Gotchall will be enrolled at the University of Nebraska this fall as a freshman in the business school.
I wonder if he's going to bowl for our friend Bill Straub out there, who coaches the University of Nebraska.
Very strong possibility.
Yeah. I think Bill might be really looking forward to having this young man on his team. He's got a lot of talent. He's very much a competitor. He likes to play. See him going after his spare ball here, taking lots of time for this spare.
Gotchall making his 2nd Brunswick Team Challenge appearance. 4 Baker games, 4 strikes and 2 opens.
Good job there. Only the 2 pin. Had no problem handling that.
7th frame, Vise Grips. Randy Hairgrove struck in his first attempt back in the second. 36 years old.
Neither team seems to be able to make much of a move here, and it's going to come down to who can throw some strikes at the end of that second game, which it almost always does, Mike.
Oh, solid, leaving the 8.
Well, you'd like to throw them all like that every time and take your chances. Unfortunately, the solid 8. Let's take a look at that. Watch what happens to the pins here. They'll go right up in the air over the top and around the 8 pin. And here's a really good look at it. You see the ball approaching, going through. The ball chops the 5 straight back. When the ball should really knock the 5 pin into the 8 pin, it takes it straight back. That means the ball is just driving really hard. And the pins aren't enough of a hindrance to slow it down and keep it from cutting left. That's the problem with today's bowling balls. They tend to really hit hard, and the pins just aren't strong enough to handle that.
Within a mark, lead for Thunderstorm. Joe Vito, 39 years old.
Been around a long time for a young man, I'll tell you. He's been a great bowler for a long time.
And finding the pocket, getting his team up off their seats, which is important to gain some momentum, get that team fired up. Here's our world traveler, Mark Burkenbine.
I wonder, I hope that's on a freeway and it's not on back roads or something. It could, what is that, about a 3.5 hour drive, even if you were on the freeway, so each direction. Well, got away with one there. A little light on the head pin on the crossover and left only the 10 pin. Again, I think experience could be a major factor in this opening match, and most of the experience on television and in professional experience is on the side of Joe Vito's team with Del Ballard. This team, only, I think 2 of their players have performed on television before, if I'm right, Mike, and 3 haven't. So they need really to overcome what you might call the opening jitters. And if they can stay close in this opening game, they might be able to put something together in the second game and pull this match out.
Here's Patterson's lifetime stats on TV appearances. 8 Baker games, only 2 opens. That's filling frames.
Not a lot of strikes, only 4 strikes and 10 spares, but there's one that'll add to it.
And that's our first double of the contest. Thunderstorm putting together a double.
And here's another look at it. You can see this is another crossover hit. The ball actually got a piece of the 5 pin on the way by. That kind of surprised me. That ball was really cutting sharply to the left. Steve Willoughby, good solid fundamentals in this game. Again, also likes to spin the ball a little bit. Gets the foul line with good balance. That's the reaction they need, and if they can just stay close, maybe their anchor man can help them here in the 10th frame. They could really make a match of this, I think. This 2 games total pins.
15-pin lead for Thunderstorm going into the 10th frame. First game of 2.
All right, now you see he's got a thumb hole there, but he doesn't use that on his strike ball, just when he's throwing a spare. And the big, powerful shoulders and forearms of this young man, you need that kind of strength to bowl like this. You see him carry the ball, roll it up his arm, and the power, the tremendous power, rotation of the bowling ball. This guy looks like he's got shoulder pads on and he's playing football, and he doesn't, believe me. That's just all him. Look at how strong he is. He steps to the left to give himself more room to hook the ball, lays it down near the foul line, and it looks like it's got a motor on it. Just amazing to me to watch. It's fun to watch. Now on the spare, you see him put his thumb in the ball. That's for control. He doesn't want to hook this. He just wants to throw it straight right at it. Now he looks like a mere mortal when he throws his spare ball. It's like the rest of us there, Mike.
Thunderstorm, with a clean fill, can make it 194 in their opening game.
Taking a lot of time here. This fill ball, and every pin in this 2-game match could be very important. So see the concentration on his face.
That's solid.
My.
That's a 194 opener for Thunderstorm.
Last time, Larry had a little problem. Remember, he had the ball hook away from him on the left side, left a tough spare, made it. His lifetime stats, only 2 Baker games again, and
2 opens.
2 opens out of 4 tries. It's not too good. He wants to improve on that. There's no question. A strike here could really help his team.
Good trip.
Well, he made a pretty big adjustment there and tried to open up the lane a little bit and increase the ball speed, but the ball just kind of stayed out there. I think he'll be happy to get off lane 42 and move over to lane 41, where he you might have a little better shot. Remember, the team that qualifies higher in the standings has their choice of starting lanes. So this team determined that they wanted to start on lane 42 so that they could finish on lane 41, which they feel is their better lane.
Stepp on the spare with a fill would make 180.
Still anybody's match, very close. Somewhere in the neighborhood of 14 or 15 pins going to separate these two teams. What it really comes down to is, so many times in the past, Mike, it has, is the two anchormen. And right now, confidence looks to be on the opposite side of the fence in Richard Howell, as opposed to Larry Stepp, who seems to be struggling a little bit. There's the shot he wants.
194, 180 in our opening match. We'll turn things around, bowl game 2. And we'll be back with more of the Harrah's Open right after this.
I've won 23 PBA titles and 2 ABC Masters with Contour Power Grips. They're my choice. Don't you think they should be your choice?
That's a winner, folks. What a great performance by Ernie Schlegel.
You know, Earl, I never really thought I had anything in common with you until I won the ABC Masters title.
Ah, but Ernie, I won the Masters twice.
But Earl,
And Ernie, I've won 46 times on the PBA tours.
But Earl,
And I'm also been elected to both the ABC and PBA Halls of Fame.
Okay, enough. I get the picture.
Well, there is one thing we do have in common, Ernie. We both use Contour Power Grips.
And they give me the feel I want shot after shot.
That's right, and they have the styles and colors that can make anybody's game better.
Contour Power Grips will also help me win my second Masters title, too.
Yeah, Ernie. Contour Power Grips, manufactured by the pioneers in the finger grip industry, Pro Sports Systems. More pros choose Contour Power Grips. You should, too. Ask your Pro Shop professional for Contour Power Grips.
Looking for more strikes and more bowling fun? Then look no further than Going for the Gold with Team USA coach Fred Borden. As today's top instructor, Coach Borden will show you ways to reach your full potential. Professional bowlers Mike Albee and Leila Wagner work with Coach Borden to show you the sure way to higher scores. This 12-lesson video is available for only $24.95.
There's Marv Thompson. He's the ABC director for this area and enjoying the bowling very much.
And we move to game 2. Don Fowler will now operate from the left lane. Fowler with an open and a spare in the first game. 2-4-10.
Sometimes when you spin the ball, as he does, and you get the ball out to the right and you get over top of it, it will stay there. Just actually too much spin. Watch this. See how the wrist rotates around the ball? The thumb goes down. It's essential to spin the ball that your thumb go down. Your thumb goes down, your fingers come around the top of the ball, much like you would spin a top. And when you do that, the ball doesn't create any friction until it's well down the lane. And sometimes it gets too far down the lane and just doesn't hook. Now, a completely opposite type of release you'll see here from Del Ballard, where he'll basically stay behind the ball, try to roll it more like you would like a tire. Put your hand under a tire and just roll it.
Ballard making 2 previous appearances here on the Brunswick World Team Challenge TV.
Not happy with that. It feels like he had a little problem with the approach and a tough spare, the 3-6-10. Excuse me. Here's another look at Del Ballard. You see him pretty much stay behind the ball and try to roll it up the back. That creates a lot of rotation through the middle of the ball and makes for a longer, more even arc than you would if you were spinning the ball. And go cross lane at the spare and got lucky. And I'm sure he'll feel that way. Very relieved to have that one over with.
There are several pros on the PBA Tour that like to frequent the Brunswick World Team Challenge.
We get a lot of the top players in the country, there's no question. We've had people with the stature of Dave Davis, Mark Roth, on and on, Dick Weber, his son Pete Weber, on and on and on. All the great players, but we also get all the greatest amateurs in the country. And actually, not just this country, even from Canada and places like that come down to bowling from
Hairgrove on the strike, getting something going for Vise Grips. The crowd comes to life.
See, he's playing well inside the 4th arrow, getting the ball out to around the 12 or 13 board on the right, And that one was a little high in head pin, but it had the good heavy end over end roll, which kept it from cutting through the pins. And he tripped the 4-6. Excuse me, the 4-6, the 4-7.
Here's Gotchall, 19 years old. Pair of spares. This team just picking up Gotchall just a couple days ago, and this is paying off.
Well, one of their players couldn't get here, and so they brought in the sub, and the sub has been outstanding. What a nice thing that would be for him at 19 years old, to come in as a sub and be on the winning team and get a chance to go to Reno for the Grand Championship. I'm really looking forward to that.
And a double for Vise Grips as Burkenbine combines with Hairgrove to put a couple together.
Well, Mark's problem probably is he's not used to being out of his car this long. You know, he's driving back and forth the bowl.
Well, he's the manager of a trucking company, so he
probably
is used to being out on the road a little bit.
Maybe he drives a truck back and forth and hauls groceries or something, one stop to the other.
All right, third frame. Here's Vito. A little bit high.
Got a break. Only the he left only the 410. 610. Boy, I'm getting confused on these pins. Help me out here, will you, Mike?
Take a look at these career stats. 16 Baker games bowling here on Team Challenge TV competition. Only 4 opens.
32 opportunities, and he only made 4 mistakes, you might say. So that's outstanding.
And that's why a player of his caliber has been at the Grand Championships over the last couple of years. We'll be back with more of our semifinal match.
Jungle, it's survival of the deadliest. These are the weapons that changed history, and this is their story. Brute Force is the ultimate video history of weapons in war, in a collection only from Time Life Video. Join host George C. Scott and watch man's never-ending search for the ultimate weapon. See the latest smart weapons tested on the battlefield and look back at the breakthroughs and disasters along the way. Go airborne with your first video, Fighters, for just $9.99, and see the complete history of airplanes at war. Call now and we'll also send you aircraft carriers absolutely free. That's 2 videos for the price of 1. Future videos each trace the complete evolution of a single weapon system. See how it feels to have the ultimate weapon on your side. Call now and order.
To order your Brute Force and get your free aircraft carriers for only $9.99, call 1-800-352-2121, 1-800-352-2121, or send $9.99 plus $3.49 shipping to this address.
We're in game 2 of our semifinal match from NKC Pro Bowl here in North Kansas City. 4th frame, 15-pin lead for Thunderstorm as Vise Grips toes the line here in the 4th frame. Steve Willoughby on his team's double. Coming up high.
Well, he's pretty happy with the result. It looked like it was going to be a lot worse than that. Only the 3 and the 6 still standing, but not an easy spare. And the preferred way is to get your spare ball, but he's going to use, I guess, his strike ball he's happy with and stand left and try to get both pins with the ball. Use the middle of the lane as your target area.
Willoughby's 43, owns a pro shop. Got it a bit outside, but brought it back for the spare.
Very relieved, Mr. Willoughby, right now.
That'll tug at your insides. Watching that roll down the lane. But he does convert. We move to the 4th frame now for Thunderstorm. Here's Patterson.
Well, looks like he made a little move in a little deeper and I think switched bowling balls there. So he's trying something different and left, again, another difficult spare. For a right-hander, this one not nearly as difficult as it would be if it were the 3-9, but still the 2-8, a tough spare, tough enough when you have double wood. Good angle to play this would be off your strike ball. Just move your feet a couple of boards left, use your strike zone. Kind of like that, and it should hook right into the spare.
Well done from Steve Patterson as we move now to the 5th frame. Second game. Total pins from these 2 games will determine who goes on to face our tournament leaders. McGerr's Pro Shop. Larry Stepp, the 1990 collegiate national champion with the University of Nebraska, also owns a pro shop.
You know, we've been fortunate over the years. This is our 5th year with the team challenge. We've been fortunate to watch some of these great amateurs blossom, you might say. And that's a balk there. He gets nine spare, right? As long as he doesn't let go of the ball, he can cross the foul line and all that kind of stuff. But if you let go of the ball, then it becomes a foul. So you watch here. He's having a little problem with the approach. Remember, Ballard did, and you see his right foot. It's over the foul line, but it's not a foul because he didn't release the ball. But as I was saying, we've watched a lot of these great bowlers. You might say progress, I guess, would be a good word, because they've blossomed on the team challenge. It's been a good proving ground for them. They've learned to really compete in some stressful situations under the Baker system and learn to be very good bowlers. And it's been fun to watch.
And they'll take any experience they get here with the pressure and the TV lights and take it out to such tournaments like the High Roller coming up. $2 million event coming up in July. Watch for that on this regional sports network.
We're trying to get them to spend some of their money right here. We need a 240 game and maybe that 450 series. That would be great, wouldn't it?
Our friends at the High Roller Tournament Series providing $500 bonuses when those minimum scores are met. Howell comes up a bit short. Strikes are at a premium at this point.
That one looked like he kind of bounced it at the foul line, meaning that it came off his hand or his wrist, I guess, in his situation, a little sooner than he wanted it to. When it bounces, it generally means you're throwing the ball down into the floor rather than getting it out on the lane in front of you. Cross lane with a spare ball, thumb in it. Good cover.
Howell is the 1993 Super Hoinky champion. So this tournament certainly proving ground for a lot of players moving on to other mega buck type events and players on the PBA Tour. Also open to all ABC members. So we certainly encourage you to take a look at the Brunswick World Team Challenge, get a team together. It's a great format, Baker scoring system. It's challenging as well as a lot of fun. We've got 3 tournaments left leading up to our Grand Championships, the Silver Legacy Grand Championships in Reno this year at the National Bowling Stadium.
And there, excuse me, there, the typical adjustment from a player that got one too wide and it kind of sailed on him. Remember last time he missed the head pin to the right. This time he goes high on the head pin, expecting the ball to hold it, but it will not hold. You must make good shots to score in the team challenge condition, and especially this week, with only 3 teams averaging over 200 for the 6 games of qualifying. Those 6 games of qualifying, as you mentioned, Mike, had 55 teams entered, and they all bowled those 6 games. The top 10, based on total pinfall, advanced into the match play. That's 10 2-game Baker system matches, carrying their pinfall over, plus bonus pins for winning matches. And they're down to 3, and we'll be back with more of this match right after this brief inter break here, right here.
You're a winner, and you deserve recognition. In sanctioned leagues and tournaments, 2 million awards are handed out each year by the national governing bodies of bowling, the American Bowling Congress, the Women's International Bowling Congress, and the Young American Bowling Alliance.
But your membership card entitles sanctioned league bowlers to more than the awards program.
There's more than $1 million each for college scholarships and veterans hospitals, bowlers supporting their communities.
Every member has a chance to compete in thousands of special events, locally, nationally, and internationally.
Sanctioned leagues also provide for the standardization of rules and supplies, plus league prize money is bonded.
Equipment testing and research helps advance the sport.
Your membership card does all that.
And every lane is inspected annually by local association volunteers. In short, everything runs smoother, and sanctioned leagues are a lot more fun.
So have more fun and help shape the future of bowling by making sure your league is sanctioned by the national governing bodies, the ABC, WIBC, or YABA.
16-pin lead for Thunderstorm in the 9th frame. While we were away, Hairgrove and Burkenbine, spare and strike for Vise Grips at Gotchall and Vito, spare for Thunderstorm. 9th frame.
This is the big shot of the match right now. A strike here would really put pressure on Thunderstorm to perform to maintain their lead. So This is it. And it didn't happen. So that's the one they needed, really, to get him in position to maybe go on, take on McGerr's.
That's back-to-back 3-6s for Willoughby.
Well, he knows how to make it anyway. Boy, it's coming down to the anchor man, as it almost always does, and we've got two good ones. Larry Stepp for Vise Grips, and of course, Richard Howell, the man that doesn't use his thumb, only 24 years old, for Thunderstorm.
And Willoughby on the spare. You can never underestimate the importance of spares in this format and on this lane condition. Well, here's Patterson protecting that lead, trying to set it up for Howell in the 10th. Gave that room, brought it back nicely for the strike.
Great shot there, and I even heard Del Ballard sitting on the bench say, great shot, when the ball was about 45 feet down the lane. He knew it was going to be there. Here's another look at it. You can see him playing just outside the 4th arrow, giving the ball plenty of room out to about the 10 board and back solid in the pocket.
We go to the 10th, 16 pins. Here's Larry Stepp. Got them all.
Well, he has to get them all, and he has to do it again in order to put any kind of pressure on the Thunderstorm team, and that would be Richard Howell getting up in the 10th for them, and Larry checking the score, making sure that he knows exactly what's going on. He knows he has to have this strike.
Strike here would cut to lead the 6th, 10th frame. Coming up high, but getting them all, caving in the house.
Oh my, the 4, 7, 10, the last 3 to go, and I'll tell you what, that's getting it when you need it the most. Here's a great look at the pin action. Watch the head pin go to the wall, kick the 2 pin into the wall. The 2 pin comes back between the 4, 7, and a whole bunch of them jumped on the 10. So you need that kind of luck once in a while. It was a great shot that happened to work out for him at the right time. Well, he said, whoa, we got to get some pins. All right. He did what he was paid to do, bowling in the anchor position. He got the double they needed. Now it's up to Richard Howell here, 24 years old. He's been in these situations before. You mentioned he won the 1993 Super Hoinky. You've got to be able to play to do that.
That's 201 for Vise Grips, added to that 180 in the opening.
Any kind of a mark will do it. Obviously on a strike, they don't have to worry too much about the count. But any mark will do it. He would like to throw a strike. That's what he's thinking. Throw a strike and it's over with. Oh yeah, got a little bit of a break there. Kicked out the 8 pin. Briefly had a tough spare, the 2-8. Now only the 2 pin. He's going to go get his spare ball, and believe me, he'll put his thumb in this one and zip it down there. Here's another look at that ball. Look at the rotation. Maybe an 1/8 of an inch more of the head pin, and it's a strike. That's the difference. Take a look at the form here of Mr. Howell. You see how he carries it up, how strong you must be to do this. Big, strong shoulders. Rolls it back down his wrist, and 2 fingers stay in, but nothing else. Lots of power. Oh my, he just cost his team the win. That's incredible. But as so often happens, the guys that throw the big strike balls are not the best spare shooters, and that just was a major mental error.
381, 377 in favor of Vise Grips, who will go on to face McGerr's Pro Shop.
It's been that kind of a day all day for the Thunderstorm team. It just seems like everything's been going downhill since they led the qualifying. What a shocker.
Wow. Stay tuned as we go around the bowling world. And we'll be back with the championship match here at the Harrah's Open.
Law of the jungle. It's survival of the deadliest. These are the weapons that changed history, and this is their story. Brute Force is the ultimate video history of weapons in war, in a collection only from Time Life Video. Join host George C. Scott and watch man's never-ending search for the ultimate weapon. See the latest smart weapons tested on the battlefield and look back at the breakthroughs and disasters along the way. Go airborne with your first video, Fighters, for just $9.99, and see the complete history of airplanes at war. Call now and we'll also send you aircraft carriers absolutely free. That's 2 videos for the price of 1. Future videos each trace the complete evolution of a single weapon system. See how it feels to have the ultimate weapon on your side. Call now and order.
To order your brute force and get your free aircraft carriers for only $9.99, call 1-800-352-2121, 1-800-352-2121, or send $9.99 plus $3.49 shipping to this address.
I am Buzz Aldrin, an astronaut who walked on the moon. Please help the cause of international understanding by becoming a host family for the American Intercultural Student Exchange. Call 1-800-SIBLING.
Now it's time to go around the bowling world, brought to you by the High Roller Tournament Series. The Young American Bowling Alliance recently announced its annual award winners, saluting Tina Sidwell of Madison, Alabama, and Sean Walkner of East Moline, Illinois, as the 1997 YABA Youth Leaders of the Year. Bobby Hoven of Las Vegas, Nevada, was honored as the 1997 Fred Borden Coach of the Year after 2 decades of service to youth coaching. The award is named for Fred Borden, who served bowling as the head coach of Team USA from 1989 through 1996. Shirley Novak of Sutton, Alaska, represents all of the hardworking YABA volunteers as the 1997 Volunteer of the Year. The Young American Bowling Alliance is bowling service organization for youth bowling, serving nearly 450,000 members across the United States. As the 94th American Bowling Congress tournament winds down in Huntsville, Alabama, plans for the 95th edition of the Showcase of Bowling are already underway. The ABC makes its second visit to the National Bowling Stadium in 1998, and 8 months in advance it is already the second biggest tournament in history. Over 10,000 teams have already submitted entries, with the entry goal of breaking the all-time record of 17,285 set in 1995 when the National Bowling Stadium was opened. For more information on this exciting national competition, please call 414-423-3320. Speaking of the 94th American Bowling Congress Tournament in Huntsville, Alabama, this year's showcase wraps up this month. Catch the next edition of Around the Bowling World for 1997's winners. Around the Bowling World has been brought to you by the High Roller Tournament Series. Call 800-257-6179 for entry information. The Brunswick World Team Challenge from NKC Pro Bowl in North Kansas City, Missouri returns with our championship match after these messages. The Brunswick World Team Challenge is brought to you by the Silver Legacy Casino, proud host of the 1997 Grand Championships, August 24th through the 28th, with qualifying and the exciting finals at the National Bowling Stadium in Reno, Nevada. Our championship match from NKC Pro Bowl, McGerr's Pro Shop, and Vise Grips, after that heartbreaking missed spare by Richard Howell. And now for McGerr's. They will choose to start the match on the left lane. Mike Wolfe averaged .207 in his 6 qualifying games.
Now, how's that for opening up the lane, folks? I mean, he didn't get it back to the pocket, but tell you what, he's sliding almost in the other lane. You can see him left foot almost in the left channel. It's incredible. I can't even visualize trying to bowl like that, but that's the modern style, the way these young men do it, and it's incredible to watch. It's a lot of fun to watch. You better be young to do this, or you'll be visiting your weekly chiropractor session. It's going to happen.
Well, Mike's 20, Earl. The body bends a little easier.
That's right.
A spare for McGerr's.
Well, this should be a good match. Both these teams have a lot of momentum going for them. They've made tremendous moves in match play to get to this championship match, and we can expect that both teams, because of their experience, should put on some kind of a match now that would be fun to watch. And I think even with the lack of experience on television for Vise Grips, that now that they've won that opening match, they're going to be a lot more comfortable in this championship match.
Fowler yet to strike on his 5 deliveries. 2 spares, 2 opens, and a 10-pin to this point.
Well, the dramatic ending to our opening match with Mr. Howell missing that 2-pin should emphasize how important it is to fill frames for both these teams. So maybe they'll take a little more time on their spares.
And now the Contour Power Grips starting lineup for McGerr's Pro Shop. Wolfe, Sean Quinn, Brian Kretzer, Rick Miller, and Kevin McGerr. And we've got a lineup change for McGerr's. Rick Miller. Oh, we have the correct line. McGerr will bowl 4-9. Miller in the anchor position as Sean Quinn strikes here in the second frame. 2 games total pins will determine who joins the elite field at the Grand Championships in Reno.
Running out of opportunities for teams to go to Reno also, with only 3 stops left for the regional qualifying. And those 3 stops basically in the East.
Randy Hairgrove answers Quinn with a strike of his own. 3 events remaining on the schedule. These are all sold out in the Open Division. We'll be in Miami, Florida at Kendall Lanes. Country Club Lanes, Kurt Pisano and the folks out at Baltimore, Maryland. Winding up at Princess Lanes with the regular season in Pittsburgh. All of that, of course, leading up to the Silver Legacy Grand Championships at the end of August. Here's Brian Kretzer for McGerr's. Working on a strike, make it a double for McGerr's.
We have 6 qualifyings for the ladies, right? And there's 1 left for those also in Baltimore?
That's correct. And of course, all of this leading up to our Open Division and Women's Division Grand Championships. And the season starts again in September, our 6th season. And for information on how to get your team in, ABC members are welcome. Call 414-423-3387.
Neither team seems to be really aggressive at this point, but I tell you what, McGerr's team made such a great move toward the end there to move from 3rd to 1st that you can expect them to be kind of cool and laid back, but making good shots. And if it's going to happen to the high roller people where they're going to put some money up, this is the team that could probably do it because they are strong.
And that high roller tournament series bonus, games of 240 or better, series of 450 or better. And the spare for Burkenbine.
Not exactly the way he was planning on doing it, but he got all 3 of them, and that's what counts.
Back with more of our championship match. First game from NKC Pro Bowl coming up next.
I take the same route to the local pro shop. I wear the same boxers on every show. I watch the same TV program every week. I listen to the same CD every night. I eat the same thing on Wednesdays. I am the same man I used to be. I have a different ball for every lane, but they're all from the same company.
When it comes to making quality bowling shoes, no company does it better than Linz. And now Linz has designed an entirely new approach with the Classic Extra. The Linz Classic Extra offers the ability to change the sliding characteristics of both the sole and the heel, providing virtually unlimited options. If you find the approaches are a bit slick or tacky, the Classic Extra enables you to compensate by simply replacing the color-coded slide inserts. Don't settle for anything less than the best. Classic Extra from Linz.
Back with more of our championship match from NKC Pro Bowl. 4th frame, first game of 2 in the Baker system. Here's Rick Miller, averaging 216 for McGerr's. Big left-hander. Smooth as silk and 3 in a row for McGerr's.
Yeah, Miller has been outstanding all through the match play, watching him, and you and I were out there watching Mike, and he was fun to watch because every ball seemed to be solid in the pocket. The only lefty to make the top 3 in the championship round, top 3 teams.
Steve Willoughby, 4th frame for Vise Grips.
You have to kind of start thinking maybe you were destined to win this when the other team gives you an opportunity that happened here from Thunderstorm for the Vise Grips team. And if that's going to happen, they're going to have to start making better shots than that because, as I mentioned, McGerr's is really pumped and ready to go, and they are the team with the momentum.
Willoughby shot 621 and 662. series in his 6 games of qualifying. Picking up the spare. 22-pin lead for McGerr's here in the early going. First of 2 games. And some interesting stats, Earl. It took an average of 195.7 to make the match play. That's over 30 games for your team.
And this team just gets better as it goes down. Kevin McGerr, and also an outstanding player. That one got away from him, and he has really got a tough spare here. The 1, the 2, and the 7. And with that gap in the middle, the spare gets a little tougher. The ideal way to pick this up, and you see him getting his spare ball, is to hit the left side of the head pin and have the ball roll down into the 7. You can see the 3 pins standing there. See how Kevin plays it.
Picking one out.
That's kind of a disastrous happening there, because they were going so well with 3 in a row up when they got to the anchor man Kevin, and unfortunately for them, they came right back to Vise Grips, who was just hanging around filling frames. And here's the man of the hour, you might say, who got up and got that big double that they needed in the 10th frame to get them the opportunity to be here. And Larry's looking pretty confident now. After kind of a shaky start in the opening game, he's really started to come on and making great shots. So Larry Stepp, if there's a hero in that opening match, this is the guy that got him there. And there's another look at that last shot, and you see the pin action, the power of the ball as it goes through the pocket area, making him dance.
And that 2+ mark lead down to just 5 pins now for McGerr's. Second time through the lineup, back to the top of the order, and Mike Wolfe.
This guy's fun to watch. He's power personified. He doesn't leave anything in the bag. When he gets to the foul line, boy, I'll tell you, his wrist must be like a piece of steel out there, because he can really rev the ball up. Here's another look at that. Watch this. He's sliding near the left channel. You can see the rotation of not just the wrist, but the arm coming around the side of the ball, and boy, is that power. Man.
Here's Don Fowler looking for his first strike.
I'd hate to follow that if I was Don. I mean, you got to go up and watch that guy throw the ball like that. But Don gets up and gets the job done. He throws it in the pocket. Unlucky to leave the 10 pin. Don, a good spare shooter. Here's another look at that shot. You can see the spin on this ball. The ball rotating around a much smaller axis on the ball, where as the guys that roll it so heavily, for example, Mike Wolfe, he gets so much power with that heavy roll on the ball. This is a spin ball, a spin shot, gets it down the lane farther.
Back with the rest of game 1. Up 2 from NKC Pro Bowl after this.
I've basically used Contour Power Grips my whole professional career. I like the consistent feel they give me ball to ball. I use the oval thumb grip. That's my favorite product, and I'm going to continue to use it as long as I bowl professionally.
More top players use Contour Power Grips. You should too.
Looking for more strikes and more bowling fun? Then look no further than Going for the Gold with Team USA coach Fred Borden. As today's top instructor, Coach Borden will show you ways to reach your full potential. Professional bowlers Mike Albee and Leila Wagner work with Coach Borden to show you the sure way to higher scores. This 12-lesson video is available for only $24.95.
Absolute power corrupts. Abso-frickin-lutely!
It's not enough to love the game. You gotta love to win.
Don't roll with the punches. Throw them.
Jeannie Nacarado, 3-time WIBC titleist and 1995 Brunswick World Team Challenge Grand Champion for Contour Power Grips.
I use Contour Power Grips because they add more revolutions to my game, which in turn helps me to score better.
Back at NKC Pro Bowl, here on the Brunswick World Team Challenge, it's the Harrah's Open. We're in the 7th frame of game 1 of our 2-game Baker match, as McGerr's Pro Shop is going up against Vise Grips to determine who will go on to the Silver Legacy Grand Championship. 7th frame. Here's Sean Quinn. And a double for McGerr's. So we take a look at some qualifying averages. McGerr's 207 in the regular qualifying. Thunderstorm, our tournament leader at 214. Went a little bit lower in course of Baker averages. And Vise Grips with that 9-1 mark in match play, finding a way to win, as they certainly did in our semifinal match. And some 10-pin-itis for Vise Grips.
Yeah, I don't think they can continue to be so unlucky as we look at the round-by-round stats, Mike, and you can see what happened to Thunderstorm in that last match.
In the position round, dropping from first to third, and McGerr's moving up to the tournament leader spot.
Of course, all three teams right there all the way through. They led the qualifying and just stayed right there.
And coincidentally, those are the only three teams that averaged 200 or better in the 6-game qualifying. Hairgrove fills the frame as we move to the 8th to Brian Kretzer.
Brian, very aggressive type player, and he's the kind of guy that you'd want for a linebacker on your football team. He likes to get in there and mix it up, you know. Here's a good look at him as he... Oh boy.
Cutting through 4-6-7.
That's major disaster. It seems like McGerr's, when they do make a mistake, it's an open as we look at some of the other finishers, Mike.
And the rest of our finishers in the top 10 in the Baker format. Bowler Sports Shop from Indianapolis finishing 4th. Contour Power Grips, Ward Maccabee on that team from Irving, Texas. PBA player Joe Firpo also on that team.
Going for the 2, which is the smart play. Get the 2, especially on a double.
But Planet Bowl finishing 6th from Bethany, Oklahoma. The Strike Zone finishing 7th. There's Adam Colton. Ricky Sajek. Carl Springs, Florida. The Strike Zone finishing 7th. Here's Mark Burkenbine now in the 8th frame for Vise Grips. And there's a strike finally for Vise Grips.
Isn't it amazing how a team can just keep hanging around, filling frames, and all of a sudden they're only 1 pin behind. The other team has 3 in a row and a double, and they are only 1 pin ahead. So you can see that strikes are nice, but filling those frames with spares is really the difference in bowling.
Less than a mark, 9 pins for Vise Grips. Here's Miller. Solid.
He makes it look too easy, doesn't he?
He really does. I mean, for he's a bigger type gentleman, but he really gets to the line in smooth fashion.
He does. Great footwork, good balance. He does everything right. Big opportunity here for Vise Grips. On a strike, chance to take the lead for the first time in the match. And it's not to be, but he got away with it. Only an easy spare, the 5 pin. So here's another look at it. Watch the pin action. You see the head pin going to the sideboards, coming back and kicking the 4 pin forward into the 2 pin, and nothing touches the 5.
And Willoughby all marks as McGerr's hanging on to a 1-stick lead. Taking a look at the rest of our players in match play, Omaha Lancers. Shannon Buchan on that club, finishing 2nd at last year's High Roller. Express Bowling Supply from Kansas City. And Jay's Pro Shop rounds out our top 10.
Here's a chance for Kevin McGerr to make up for his earlier open, and he leaves another split. This time the baby split to 310. And they really need to fill this frame. They need Kevin to get going because he's really, you might say, the heart of this team. He's the guy that puts together, he's a sponsor, he does all those kinds of things, and he's the guy they kind of look up to. So Kevin is their team leader. Fill this frame and then make a good shot. Well
Very
done.
nice spare. All right, with a fill, we're looking at 197, or rather 198 rather, for McGerr's.
And this should be a much better shot. I think Kevin will be a little more relaxed now. This is a count ball. He get a chance to make a good swing, get his footwork where he wants it, and that's what he's looking for, that kind of a ball reaction right there.
197, first game score for McGerr's Pro Shop. And there's a young woman who's going to be making her first trip to the Silver Legacy Grand Championships after 8 or so tries on the women's division side.
5 seconds. Unbelievable.
Marcy's Team Brunswick has finally succeeded in making their way to the Grand Championships and will join the ladies, the open division, or rather the women's division squad out there. Larry Stepp crosses over.
Well, he's pretending that he didn't like it, but he's very happy. And here's what it looks like from the Brooklyn side, real up close and personal, thanks to our director, Kent Samuel. That's how it's done.
Uptown to Brooklyn. Well, I believe James Mack is in the production vehicle, would know something about the Uptown to Brooklyn. Here's Larry Stepp trying for 2. Tight, picking up 8.
Well, we've definitely got a close match. It's going to be a dead even match if he can pick this up. 2 games total pins, and the players will switch switch lanes again. I can't even talk today, Mike.
Well, we set ourselves up for the tie, and
well, he's not going to have that happen. I can't believe how they can miss half the lane like that.
197, 195, and on the same lane where the 2-pin was missed. 2 pins the difference. We'll set it up for an exciting championship second game as we decide the winner here at the Harrah's Open. Coming up right after this. We've set ourselves up for a very exciting game 2 as Vise Grips shot 195 to McGerr's 197 and take a 2-pin disadvantage into this second game. 2 pins the difference. Anybody's match. Winner goes on to our Grand Championships in Reno, Nevada at the National Bowling Stadium. And a washout for Fowler.
Well, the 1-2-10, and really it's a lot tougher looking than it actually plays. The washout, getting the ball on the left side of the head pin is obviously the key. You want the head pin to slide into the 10. And the way he throws the ball with that spin shot, he can control it, get it down the lane farther. He just, he wasn't even in the building with that one, and he didn't get the reaction he expected there. He moved to the right, tried to hook the ball left, and that's your out of bounds area. You get out there and the ball's not going to hook. Here's another look at that. You can see he played it right around the 3rd arrow, going out to about the 2nd arrow, about 35, 40 feet down the lane, and that's where it stayed.
Found some unwanted lubricant.
Yes, he did. This young man's got to worry about the ball return where he's playing. He's got to get around that ball return somehow. See that? That's pretty neat, isn't it? That takes some very unique footwork to do that, to make that kind of an approach.
This McGerr squad finished 3rd in Fort Worth with 4 of the 5 players that are on the squad. In fact, Mike Wolfe was added for Jason Duran. And the rallying cry for McGerr's is friction is our friend, as the players that tended to hook it found some success in the later portion of the match play and were able to get them into this position.
Tough spare here, the 3-6, 9-10, and he leaves the 9, which is generally what happens when you don't make a good shot. And unfortunately for him and his team, they are open and matching McGerr's. And now we're going to take a look at his footwork as he goes around the ball return. Watch this, he'll start walking left because he needs to open up the lane and get way left. He's walking sideways now. It's pretty unique. He takes about 8 steps to get there and uses a lot of upper body strength and those long arms and legs to create ball speed. The ball speed he needs if he's going to turn the ball that much or rev it up.
Now Vise Grips losing 2 pins and count in the exchange. 4 pins is the difference. Hairgrove with a solid 10.
They just can't seem, Vise Grips seems to be making some good shots, but they can't seem to carry the corner pins. We've seen 3 or 4 10 pins already, and as long as they can stay out of trouble and make their spares, they're going to be a major factor in this match, no question, because McGerr's doesn't seem to be able to get really relaxed, especially now that they have to finish on the right-hand line. And there's another easy spare missed, and it's incredible, but I have to believe that there's something tricky out there on the right-hand side, but I just still can't imagine everybody missing the pins in the middle of the lane. Those are the ones that kind of shocked me. The 2-pin and, of course, the 2-4, the 3-4, that 3-6. Boy, I'm going to get this right yet, Michael. The 3-6 that Mr. Stepp missed earlier.
8 strikes and 2 opens and 6 Baker games lifetime on TV for Sean Quinn. Checks up a bit, avoids the 4-9.
Good shot there, easy spare, and I'm going to stop saying easy spare because everybody seems to be missing him.
We're still looking for a spare in game 2.
Yes.
Richard Howell still off in the distance, staring down the lanes. Boy, you got to feel for him missing that spare.
It was a successful week for the team. They did win a lot of money. They had a good time, and you can't dwell on that. It's over with, and you can't change it. And there's another easy spare missed. Incredible, absolutely incredible. When you consider that the ball is 9 inches wide, thereabouts. The pin is 5.5 inches wide. You add that together, you're somewhere around 23 inches, so you're missing a 2-foot target down there, basically. It's hard to imagine that a player of this caliber, players of this caliber, are missing this many easy spares.
Well, it's the first week of June, Earl. It must be Flag Day.
That must be it, Mike. I never thought of it that way.
There we go. Waking up this crowd. Burkenbine with a strike.
Well, he can't miss that one. That's what they said when he sat down. He can't miss that one, folks. Another look at that shot, and this is 10 in the pit. That's exactly where you'd like to throw it every time. McGerr's need some of that aggressiveness that they had when they were playing in the match play earlier this afternoon. They were really charged up and attacking. They seem to be kind of cautious now and like they're aiming or steering the ball rather than just letting it go as they were earlier.
It's
your turn to say. Your turn to say. This is an easy spare here, Mike.
Well, none of these spares are easy. This is a tough lane condition, and when you're playing, watching golf or playing golf, you can see the traps in front of you. But on this lane condition, you cannot see the hazards that are out there.
There, that ought to get him a standing ovation. Here we go. You can see his reaction. His team all smiles. Finally got a spare.
Chance for Vise Grips to take control of this match. We're in the 4th frame. Only a 4-pin lead for McGerr's. Vise Grips strike up, could take the lead with a strike. It's up to Steve Willoughby, 4th frame.
Oh, he might like this. Oh, he kind of hung out there, and there seems to be a major hang area out there in that right-hand lane. I mean, excuse me, on the right-hand side of the left lane, lane 41. The player's getting into that area, and it just doesn't come back, as we saw in the opening shot for this team when Fowler got up there and left the washout and then threw it back in the same spot.
All right, Willoughby fills the frame. We're still within a mark. We've got a lineup change now for McGerr's. Kevin McGerr struggled a little bit in the 10th frame. You are able to change your lineup at the beginning of any game in the Baker system, and thus McGerr moves up to the 4th and 9th frames. Rick Miller will fill the anchor.
Oh, well, there you go.
There's a break for McGerr.
You know what that really does for his team is it gives them an opportunity to get a double that's much needed, and especially with Miller on the bottom, and he's been bowling extremely well.
I've got to say that's a real good move at this point on their part.
No question, and pretty lucky also that McGerr got away with that one and carried it. Obviously, there's some problem on the left-hand lane, and as the players get the ball out to the right, there must be some either a buildup of oil or carry down or something. And here's another look at that last shot here by Larry Stepp, the anchor man, and he wants this ball to finish. He thought he'd made a pretty good shot. Right there, the ball doesn't pick up the turn and roll and just keeps right on skidding. And there's got to have been some carry down of some sort from the bowling balls going down the lane and moving the dressing on the lane around.
Good spare.
What makes you nervous in that kind of a situation is if you try to tighten the line up a little bit or go a little straighter at the pocket, it hooks right off the lane just about, and that can be disaster also.
Okay, let's see if this move pays off for McGerr's as Rick Miller now occupies the anchor. 5th frame. Pair of strikes in game 1.
Great shot, but not successful. Unfortunately, it was well played, and it's kind of interesting to watch Miller's eyes as he looks at the foul line, looks at the pins, looks at the foul line, and then as he gets to the approach, almost to the foul line, he's looking back down again. So I don't know if he does it on his spares. There he's looking down, looking up, and looking down again as he releases the ball.
Miller on the spare. It's anybody's match as we go to the last rotation of players. McGerr's only 7 pins. We'll be back with the conclusion of our match after this. Last 5 frames from NKC Pro Bowl as Vise Grips toes the line here in the 6th. Don Fowler down 7 pins, his Vise Grips club.
Another move there made by Fowler on the lane. He moved to the right, tried to get a little more angle into the pocket, and the ball just stayed out there again. So obviously the players are trying to make good adjustments. It's just not happening for them, and you tend to be very cautious when you do that because you don't want the ball to go through the middle of the head pin and get a big split.
Every shot has that much more pressure as we move through the last time in the order. Everybody gets one more shot to help out their team.
This is when you like to have some kind of a blood pressure machine or something like that on the anchormen where they're sitting there knowing that it's probably going to come down to them and how they perform in the 10th frame. You're hoping that your team can get a couple of strikes for you to make it a little easier before you get there like that.
We are in the 6th frame of our championship match. Moving on to the 7th. McGerr's Pro Shop with an 8-pin lead. And here's Randy Hairgrove, salesman for Vise Grips. Bit short, part of the bucket left.
It's interesting to watch the bowlers trying to combat what they think is a tricky lane condition, and obviously is by the ball reaction they're getting. He moved left and tried to go with more end-over-end roll and keep the ball on line longer, and it almost worked for him, and I think that's not a bad move to make. I think that's the way I would try to play it. Get deeper into the lane, more toward the center, and go more end-over-end to take that oil out of play completely.
Oh, no.
And again, another what you would call very simple spare missed, and again he felt he made a good shot. Here's another look at it. The ball just never grips the lane. You can see it rolling end over end, and it just takes the 2-pin around the 4. And unfortunately for Vise Grips, that could be very costly at this point in the match.
And now the hammer is in Sean Quinn's hand with a chance of double for McGerr's 7th frame championship match.
Oh, he likes this one.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, he liked that one. You can see him gritting his teeth when he threw that one.
We are in the 8th frame from NKC Pro Bowl at the Brunswick World Team Challenge. 31-pin advantage for McGerr's. Big open in the 7th frame and a big double for McGerr's. Here's Burkenbine in the 8th, light 10.
Best shot of the game for his team, really, and unfortunately didn't carry the 10-pin, in which they desperately need right now.
And Ron Hopper, the general manager here at NKC Pro Bowl, Brunswick World Team Challenge, is making its 3rd consecutive appearance here, and we certainly thank Ron and his staff for all of their hard work and successful tournament here this weekend. Burkenbine on the 10-pin. Frames are running out for Vise Grips.
Brian Kretzer with a chance to add on to that lead, extend it a little longer, and as you say, Mike, they're running out of frames, so every little bit helps right now, especially if they can just stay clean is what is more important than even getting the strike now. Just don't make any major errors.
Nothing taken for granted at this point.
Saw that ball coming right into your living room, and the last 2 down were the 7 and the 10, and the 10 still standing. But an unfortunate thing that Brian didn't carry the strike, but also fortunate that he did not get the split. Here's another look at that shot. See him playing between the 4th and 5th arrow. The ball hits with plenty of power, but it sends the 5-pin, hits it so hard it sends it behind the 7.
Kretzer has been on 2 previous World Team Challenge regional winners, and
incredibly, another spare missed. Unbelievable. I don't know what to tell you folks, but these guys are not this bad, believe me. They are all fine spare shooters, great bowlers, and he just can't believe he missed it. He expected that ball to kind of fall back into the 10, but it just stayed right on line and never wiggled.
We've got a match again. Vise Grips down by 18, ninth frame for Willoughby.
Vise Grips seems to be the Cinderella team in this whole situation. Regardless of what they do, everybody seems to wait around for them.
Trip 4 for Willoughby, setting it up for Stepp, who came up big in the semifinal match. He'll have the opportunity again to double.
Well, right now, here's the man of the hour. He would like very much to at least get a mark. It's so important that he fill this frame and give Miller a chance to get up there with the guy they need, who is bowling so well. Their big left-hander. They want him to have an opportunity to win this. And here we go again. Another major split for Kevin McGerr. That's 3 splits out of 4 shots that I'm aware of. And this one is what he started the beginning of the match with. He left this particular split in the 5th frame, first game, and got one of them. The idea is to slide across the 2-pin across into the 10, of course. Now we definitely have a match. Incredibly, they're right back into it. It looked like McGerr's was going to run away when they got the double in the 6th and 7th frame. Then they missed the easy spare, then they split, and here again is the chance for Larry to be the man of the hour as he was in the opening match.
McGerr still clinging to a 7-pin lead. Stepp can take the lead with this shot.
Boy, he revved it up, didn't get it back, and again, the hang spot on that lane, and he was real happy when he released that. And I don't blame him. It looked like he made a great shot, but the ball just hung out there. Now it's imperative that he pick this up to have any chance at all. He's checking the score. You can see, looking up at the telescore unit above the lanes on lanes 43 and 4. No, that was gone when it left his hand, and now it's up to the big left-hander to finish this match out. And it looks like McGerr's is going to complete their little Cinderella trip from hanging on, trying to make the top 3, to leading the tournament and winning just one match to go on to Reno for what we're really looking forward to, the big one.
The Grand Championships coming up in August. And there's Miller, the last nail in the coffin, and McGerr's will move on.
This is, it has to be the strangest telecast I think we've had in 5 years, with people missing spares that they can't believe they missed. We can't believe they missed them, and the match is going back and forth, and yet still staying close all the way.
Crossover for Miller.
Miller
seesawing back and forth.
Really looks excited, doesn't he? I don't think he shows much emotion. He's just out there getting his job done, and that's what it's all about as far as he's concerned. Rick, he said, put me anywhere in the lineup, and I'll just knock down some pins for you.
Not the type of match, though, where you could really, the crowd as well, you can't get any enthusiasm, anything going with the missed spares and the missed opportunities.
Well, I think there were so many people that were shocked at the missed spares more than anything, Mike. We were all kind of amazed and sitting here with our mouths open looking.
Your winners of the Harrah's Open, advancing to the Silver Legacy Grand Championships, and we'll be back to meet them after this.
You're a winner, and you deserve recognition. In sanctioned leagues and tournaments, 2 million awards are handed out each year by the national governing bodies of bowling, the American Bowling Congress, the Women's International Bowling Congress, and the Young American Bowling Alliance.
But your membership card entitles sanctioned league bowlers to more than the awards program.
There's more than $1 million each for college scholarships and veterans hospitals, bowlers supporting their communities.
Every member has a chance to compete in thousands of special events, locally, nationally, and internationally.
Sanctioned leagues also provide for the standardization of rules and supplies, plus league prize money is bonded.
Equipment testing and research helps advance the sport.
Your membership card does all that.
And every lane is inspected annually by local association volunteers. In short, everything runs smoother, and sanctioned leagues are a lot more fun.
So have more fun and help shape the future of bowling by making sure your league is sanctioned by the national governing bodies, the ABC, WIBC, or YABA.
The Brunswick World Team Challenge is brought to you by Brunswick. Bowling is sold on Brunswick worldwide. By Contour Power Grips, the pioneers of the finger grip industry. More pros use Contour Power Grips. You should too. By Keepsake, designer and manufacturer of championship ring awards. By Bud Light, proud sponsors of bowling. Make it a Bud Light. And by the American Bowling Congress and the Women's International Bowling Congress, providing championship service to sanctioned leagues across the United States. Make sure your league is sanctioned by the national governing bodies.
Welcome back, and here are our winners, McGerr's Pro Shop. And what a job they did making that huge comeback during the match play and holding on for what was a very unique win. And you have to still even feel pretty good about that, Kevin.
We're pretty fortunate. We didn't execute real well, especially our spare shooting. But we got lucky, and we get to go to Reno.
Well, you guys really bowled well, and I'd say there was more than luck to it. A lot of talent involved. And here to do the presentation of the championship plaque is the general manager here at North Kansas City Bowl, Pro Bowl, I should say, Ron Hopper. Ron?
Thank you, Earl. Kevin, congratulations from Harrah's and from AMF NKC Pro Bowl. Good luck to you guys in Reno. Thanks.
And again, congratulations to our winning team. They also will receive the Brunswick bowling balls, the championship rings, and of course the Lynn shoes. They go along with being our latest winners, and it's going to be a great trip out there. You guys are going to have fun, but unfortunately some of you mentioned aren't going to be able to go.
Yeah, we got 2 or 3 of us that won't be there at all. One of them will be there for a little while. So.
And you're going to do what?
We're going to get some great subs, so we don't have to worry about it.
What about you? What are you going to do personally?
I'll be on a honeymoon.
Oh, there you go, folks. Our new winners going on to honeymoon, and thank you all for being with us.
The next Brunswick World Team Challenge telecast is an open division event from Don Carter's Kendall Lanes in Kendall, Florida. Check your regional sports network listings for dates and times. For Earl Anthony, this is Mike Jakubowski. So long from NKC Pro Bowl in North Kansas City, Missouri. This has been an ABC Eagle Productions telecast.